Hello everybody, today we're doing a video for GTA Car Kits in a 2016 Audi Q3, and today we're going to show you how to install our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto kit. As you can see, it's already installed into this car. It's been paired to our iPhone wirelessly. You can also pair it to your Android phone wirelessly. The entire system gets controlled with the original controls here. You're able to do next track. From here, you're also able to control it through original steering wheel controls. The system uses original Bluetooth both for phone calls and music, so we'll also use original microphone. You can switch back to the Audi system by pressing and holding the back button, so you don't lose any functionality, but you get an extra option that you didn't have before. And now we're going to show you how to install it into this particular car. So the tools you're going to need is a T20 Torx, this panel removal tool, and these are the stereo removal keys. So these keys the kit will come with, and of course you're going to need our product. So we're going to start with our stereo removal keys, and you see these two holes here. We're just going to insert our keys into them until you hear that the lock unlocks. Now once the keys are inserted, you're going to carefully pull on them until the radio comes out, and at this point we can remove the keys. So now we're going to remove the stereo, and we're going to disconnect all the connections at the back of it. So here we're going to start with a fiber optic cable. You just press on the clip to disconnect it. Then we're going to remove the main harness. There's a clip right underneath it to release the clip. This is our video cable, so we can use our panel removal tool. We're just going to press at the bottom of the cable. There's a clip there, and use the removal tool to take it out. Now these two antennas, unclip the white clip and press on it to disconnect. So for this connection, you're going to press the clip. We're going to use our panel removal tool to wiggle it out. Next, we'll remove this heater control panel, and we're not going to be connecting anything back there but into the actual panel, but we're going to use it in order to have space to hide the module behind it. So I'm just using our panel removal tool to unclip the trim around the actual control panel. As you can see, it's held on these metal clips. And now I'm going to use our T20 Torx, and as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 bolts that hold this panel in place. With the bolts removed, we can just grab this panel, and we're just going to put it on the side here. As you can see, it gives us all of the space. That is where we're going to hide our module, and we're going to use this space to feed the USB cable and all of our wiring behind the dashboard. So here we have the driver's door open, and we're going to remove this panel on the side. And you're going to see here, there's a T20 Torx bolt that we need to remove. Now underneath, there's a bolt right here, closer to the door. Again, it's a T20 that we need to remove. And now there's the last bolt, which is closer to the dashboard, closer to the passenger, but still under the steering wheel here on the driver's side. Now you can grab this panel and drop it down on both sides. Down here we have the connection for the light, and we're actually going to disconnect it. This way we can move this panel to the side. Now we have taken everything apart and we took out our stereo. So now we're going to show you what we're going to install inside of here, and then we're going to bring it back and do all of our connections inside the car. So here we have our radio out of the car, and this is our kit. And for what we're going to install inside the stereo, you're going to need a T8 Torx, the small screwdriver right here. And now we're going to show you what comes in our kit. So in our kit, you're going to get this circuit board with a wire. That's what we're going to install inside of the stereo. You have your video cables for the head unit. This is our main harness. This is our module, USB cable, and this is our wireless antenna. Now we can grab the CD changer and carefully put it to the side. You can disconnect it, but there's enough space here that you can leave it just hanging like this. And our main focus is going to be this ribbon cable and that bolt right there. It's also a T8, so we're going to have to remove it. And instead of that bolt, we're going to put in our gold spacer that we showed you earlier. So as you can see, we screwed in that gold spacer. And now we can disconnect the original ribbon cable. It just pulls up. You don't need to undo any clips. Now we will take our circuit board. Our circuit board comes with this ribbon cable. So you're gonna take it and plug it in instead of the original one. Then we will take the original one, make sure that this clip is unlocked so you can insert it into our circuit board, and then you lock it in place. We can use that gold spacer and the little Phillips screw that came with the kit and secure the circuit board inside. And it's gonna look like this, and you're gonna grab this extra wire that you didn't have before, and you're gonna route it right here. And at this point, make sure that there's enough slack in this wire so you can put in the CD changer back. So now we can secure the CD changer in place with these two bolts right here. Now we can take the cover, make sure it lines up with the holes. And now we have to secure it with the 4 bolts on top. And something to note, because we removed that one bolt right from the circuit board, and it's different than all the other ones. So this one you will not be reusing, so just keep it somewhere maybe in our box. So now the radio is assembled. We put our circuit board inside, and the only extra thing is going to be this extra wire that is now coming out of it. And now we're going to go and install it back in our car. So this is our main harness, which we're going to connect over here. These big quad locks are going to go here behind the stereo. And on the other end of the main harness, this end will plug it into our module. Also on this end, this is where you have the option to connect your review camera into our harness. So you'd use an RCA. And then this connection, we have to connect underneath the steering wheel, and we're going to show you where. So we're going to start with feeding these wires behind the dashboard, these two harness wires. We will start with this one, and this one will come around the back of the head unit and straight down, so we can catch it right here. This harness with a male and a female, this is the one that we need to plug in behind the dashboard there under the steering wheel. And that one, so that one you have to feed towards the driver. So now we're able to get the harness over here under the steering wheel, and we're going to show you which connection we're going to need to connect to. You're going to see right there, there's that red connection, and it has a black clip on top. So I'm going to disconnect it and show you. It's hard to see, but I'm going to maybe move my hands out. But there's that red connection that you need to disconnect, and we're going to connect it to the female harness that we just fed there. So here I clipped in the original red connection into our harness, and then the male end from our harness we're going to reconnect down there instead of this original red connection. There you go. Now we'll feed the video cable. So on one side there's a male and a female, and on the other side, darker blue, is the male. So this one, that's the one we're gonna feed behind the head unit here. We'll catch it at the bottom, and then the original pink wire will go into the female end of our cable, and then this blue one will go into the head unit. This is the USB cable, so it's used for updates and wired CarPlay and wired AndroidAuto. And in this car, we're just gonna bring it out over here to the passenger side. Just gonna drop it down there below, and we're gonna leave it right there. This is the wireless antenna that this end we're gonna keep in this compartment here, the blue one, and then the actual antenna, you can find a flat spot behind the dashboard. Make sure not to stick it to the actual module. And then over here in this car, it's towards the right onto this panel. You can stick it. It's a good position for that antenna. And then this is the extra wire from our head unit, which we also have to bring down here because we're going to connect that wire into our module. So now we ran all the wires, and now we can start making all the connections. So we have our original quad lock harness, and we're going to take the female end of our harness and we're going to join them together. So when you're connecting them, make sure that the lock on the quad lock harness is unlocked, and you're gonna plug it in and lock it in place. So now we're gonna start doing all the connections into the head unit. We'll start with our main quad lock harness here. So this is the one from our kit. We're gonna take our male end, make sure that it's unlocked, and you put it in and then you lock it in place. Now you can connect the video cable, the two antennas, and this clip you lock in place. And the last thing you have to connect is the fiber optic cable right here, this black one, and it goes right here at the back of the head unit. So when you're putting everything back, you have to guide this quad lock harness behind the head unit and down below, so it's not in the way when you're putting everything back. And make sure that this harness cable is, of course, nicely tucked away back here, and then this extra wire. Also make sure that when you're putting everything back, that none of these wires get left behind, because this body of the stereo is very sharp and you don't want to cut any of these wires. And we're going to carefully guide the stereo back into its original position and start putting it back in. So the actual stereo we're going to leave like this because we're going to still test everything, so we're not locking it in place. And now we're going to do all the connections into our module. So first we'll connect the main harness here for power. Then we will connect that extra wire we brought out from the back of the screen. This is this one. The video cable. On the other side here, we're going to connect our USB. And this is where our wireless antenna goes. So everything has been connected into the module. Make sure when you're putting this module in that you don't trip any of the switch settings here. All of them have to be off for this Audi Q3. And for now, we'll leave the module right here, but during the installation, we're going to actually hide it down behind the dashboard. But for now, we're going to do some testing. So with the ignition on, we're testing that the original system loads, and it does. So everything here should look as before. And you're going to choose Bluetooth sound source in order to hear stuff from Apple, CarPlay, and AndroidAuto. And for now, we're just going to test by the cable, but later you can pair wirelessly to the system. So you're going to see that it's charging, so everything is correct. It switches to CarPlay. You're going to test the controls. You're going to test music to hear that it's working through Bluetooth. And then if you want to go back to the original system, you just press and hold the back button. So that's how you switch between the Audi system and our system. And everything seems to be working well. And now we're going to finish off the installation. So over here, you're just going to carefully push in the module behind the dashboard here. You might need to tilt it so it fits, but there's plenty of space for you to hide everything. There you go. And then you can also use cable ties to arrange these wires nicely. We're going to put everything in. So now we can reinstall this one back, and we can reinstall our 4 bolts that hold it in place. Now we can reinstall the cover. It just clips in. And we can now push the radio all the way in to lock it in place. So here we're going to put back the original cover under the steering wheel. So we unplugged this wire, so make sure to plug it back in. And we're going to reinstall the cover and clip it back in also. So there are 2 bolts, as you remember, underneath. So one closer to the passenger. Then there's this one closer to the door. This is the last bolt here. So for the cover, you got to make sure that these 2 plastic guide clips slide in, and then you can clip it in place. So the installation has been completed. We paired our iPhone wirelessly to the system. You can also pair your Android phone to the system. And now you can enjoy Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in your Audi Q3. I hope you liked the video, and we'll see you next time.